Hi YouTube. Okay, so I am making my soup to come off the cleanse. Pan's getting too hot. And right now what I'm doing is I am just heating up some oil. So you have all my ingredients prepped. And I am going to saute my onions. That's a half of a yellow onion and 4 green onions. And about 5 or 6 cloves of garlic because they were kind of small. So I'm just browning these, or actually just sauteing until it turns translucent. And the reason I only use a half of a yellow onion is because I'm also using leeks, and like I said, I use green onions too, so those are all oniony things. So saute this and go on to the next step. Okay, that's still sauteing. I'm going to add my celery. This is 4 stalks of celery, and I cut my celery, I dice it up pretty small because I like the flavor it gives, but I don't like cooked celery, like I don't like the texture. So you can leave your celery in bigger chunks if you like cooked celery, but mine's smaller because I don't care for it. So let that cook down for a minute, and then we're going to add our carrots. Okay. We are ready to put in our carrots. That cooked down for a few minutes, and you can see that it's cooking nicely. So we're going to add in about a pound of baby carrots, and I cut them 3 times. And we're going to let those carrots cook just until tender. We're just letting some of this flavor release before we start our soup. Okay, now I'm going to add my butternut squash. This is 1 whole butternut squash. I just peeled it, cut it lengthwise, and then chopped it. And we're going to pull that out so that those flavors mix a little bit. I'm not cooking this for long periods of time in between because I'm going to actually let it cook in the water for quite a while, so it'll get softened at that point. So we're just commingling our flavors right now. I also forgot to mention when I was sauteing my onions and my green onions and my yellow onion, I also had my leek in there. So I had 2 leeks that were chopped. At this point I'm putting in my sweet potato. That's 2 sweet potatoes. They're pretty small. But I'm not putting a lot of I'm not putting any other potatoes in this because I just want a lot of vegetables and not too much starch, because this is for this is my recipe for coming up the master cleanse, or one of my recipes. I made a different soup last time. So cooking that for just a few minutes, and then we're going to put in our broccoli and cauliflower, and then we will add our kale after that. Okay, and as per usual, I always make way too much vegetables and end up having to separate into 2 pots and end up with 2 pots of soup cooking. So nothing different this time. Now I'm going to add my greens. This is just kale. And we're going to let that wilt down a little bit so that it's got a nice texture to it. And I have a couple things going on here. I'm also roasting a butternut squash in here, which I'm going to cut up and use the baby bullet to make your riots and butternut squash. So next is going to be seasonings here in water and just a minute. Okay, so I've added my spices. I added a tablespoon of cumin to each pot, half a tablespoon of paprika to each, and a tablespoon of the garlic powder to each, and then about 4 shakes of sea salt and a very large pinch of oregano. Now I will be bringing this to a boil, so I have my heat set on high, and as soon as this comes to a boil I will turn it down and it will be allowed to simmer covered until until the vegetables are to your desired liking and the broth is flavored. The cooking on the cleanse, you obviously can't taste this, so the spices will have to be taste tested by my family, and I may have to add a little bit more here and there as this cooks, so we will see.